This is the Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
We've started with some flashy silver numbers. We've seen multi-kilo silver. It started in a small area that's now 4 by 5 kilometers, so 20 square kilometers of alteration. And you're getting 80 samples over half kilo silver. You're getting up to 934 gram gold, which is just shy of a kilo gold.
And welcome. You are listening to and hopefully watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is 1/19/2021. You know, we've been covering really exciting mining companies now for several years. And sometimes you think you know a company, and then things happen, and you find out what you thought you knew was barely a glimpse of what was actually under the hood. And we started out been covering Auryn Resources for years, and Auryn recently turned into several other companies, which we'll be talking about. And then one of the companies, the Curibaya project, is morphing into something that I don't think Ivan Bebek, who's been in it from the beginning, chair and director, and recent CEO appointee Peter Dembicki. I think you guys, I'm really excited to have you on the show. I think this is like morphing into a story that I wasn't prepared for, quite frankly.
Well said, Kerry. It's been quite the road here. 5 years of going looking for the world's largest discoveries in Auryn has resulted in 3 different commodity classes that offer that: gold focused in Fury, also copper in Sombrero, which is well known and followed. The one we talked least about, because we didn't know much about it, is been Tier 1 silver, as we're calling it now. We first got into Peru on this Curibaya project. It was acquired, a third of it was acquired with land that was being shed from Anglo, actually. And the other 2/3 were owned by a Peruvian mining company that had bought out a portion that was owned by Teck. And the appeal to it from us was aligned with our very, very capable technical team that comes from Newmont, on the theory that we were in part of Peru where this big metallogenic belt, where there's massive world-class mines operating. We thought it was a good point of address. There was some copper and gold in the signature and in the streams on surface. That quickly went from concept to reality when Dave Smithson, got into a really, really, really ambitious effort for us to go and pursue this asset. And he saw it early as an incredible opportunity for silver and gold. We've started with some flashy silver numbers. We've seen multi-kilo silver. It started in a small area that's now 4 by 5 kilometers, so 20 square kilometers of alteration. And you're getting 80 samples over half kilo silver. You're getting up to 934 gram gold, which is just shy of a kilo gold. But interestingly enough, as we are working towards a listing, we split Auryn up at October 9th, and we were looking to relist Tier 1 silver in Sombrero in the first quarter. And it looks like Tier 1 silver today will be listed in March. That looks like we're on the ASAP basis, but I'm sure Peter will touch on a bit of the steps that are going on there. But, for this opportunity, we looked at 2 things. What kind of assets can we add to this to keep that pipeline of discoveries for shareholders for years to come? And Michael Henriksen has led that charge for us. And you'll see some really exciting acquisitions that get added here, one silver one and a gold one, in the coming weeks before we go public. Secondly is people. A lot of people asked, as you did before this interview, Ivan, how do you manage all these 3 companies out of Auryn? And I'll say first and foremost, Fury is being run by Mike Timmins. Fundamentally and professionally, that company is running very impressively, and it's set up for tremendous success. So it takes very little of my involvement. Mike's really got that tiger by the tail, as you'll soon see here with drill results coming out in the next few weeks. In terms of Tier 1 silver, the one place where I could always use a bit of help And I say this because there's three companies, one me, but it's with the share price performance and raising of capital. And, Peter comes from the brokerage side. I came from the brokerage side. I mean, he's cared for a decade about performance for his shareholders on investments he's made. And the one thing that we have as former brokers is we have an understanding of what makes companies perform better in terms of an investment. And that's a theme and a culture that's really aligned with myself, Sean, Michael Hendricks, and the team here, formerly Oren, of what we want to achieve in this company. So we picked somebody that was like-minded, that has a different network of investors. That's obviously going to, incorporate at some point, likely because the opportunities are real, into a company that, I've dreamed about a silver company on my belt for my entire life because they are the best performing equities. And, I'm so excited that we can talk about things like 300 kilos silver on top of the target we're going to go drill here in the next few months. So it's really come together well, Kerry. It's really exciting.
And I should mention that the ticker symbol is going to be TSLV on the Toronto, and the OTC listing will be forthcoming. I remember when you did the transaction, the spinoffs, a lot of it hinged on the tax consequences for American investors, because if you had done it all at once, it would have resulted in a tax bill without any particular obvious benefit up front. Now the transaction's coming. I'm really excited as a shareholder to see these shares go live. It was obviously worth the wait.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great one. A lot of people were quite angry or upset about or frustrated would be probably the best word, that there was going to be a delay between the listing of Fury and the listing of the SpinCos. And you've talked about taxes, and by fortunate coincidence, the revealing of the targeting at tier 1 and the copious amounts of multi-kilo silver over the target, the value that we're unlocking in it happened after the date of the SpinCo, and that protects everybody. And it's also factual to the tax equation to be a lower tax bill. Secondly, you said worth the wait, and you're only seeing 1/3 of what's going to be in the pipeline for tier 1, but that 1/3 you see is, it's unreal. There's huge target, and there's really, really rich silver and gold all over this huge target, and a big geophysical target subsurface to go drill as the potential source of all that multi-kilo silver and really high-grade gold. So I think that, when I look at this from a worth the wait perspective, it's more than worth the wait, and I know more. We know more. Peter and I know more of what's to come. The last point I'll make is, if you look at the strategy of splitting a company and listing 3 of them, the first few sets of drill results are going to be out for Fury, which we are very, very optimistic about here, coming as early as next week into March. And so when the drill results start coming out of Fury is going to get a chance to trade with the hopefully additional of considerable ounces or potential of ounces of gold as the launch of tier 1 silver. If we had listed all 3 on the same day, we would have competed very difficultly with ourselves, with each entity. The Peruvian ones weren't permitted. We wanted to have drill permits in hand, which we do now, to go in and list these Peruvian companies. So we didn't want to dilute ourselves all in one day. We wanted to add tremendous value. There's a lot of luck behind the numbers you're seeing and hearing about, and you're going to see coming together on tier 1. I like to think that if you work hard enough, you create your own luck. And then the big point is getting another person like Peter, and we're very lucky to have somebody that's as capital market capable as ourselves, but also to make the career shift to come join us.
And that is really a find. Peter, as a professional champion rower, I'm sure you can draw parallels to the mining industry and being in competitive rowing.
For sure. Any corporate role, anything where you have to work hard to achieve a final goal, the rowing comes in very well. Doing something over and over and over again with determination to achieve that goal will get you there. When I came from the brokerage side, I spent the last 10 years working with CEOs, finding companies that are suitable for my clients And the 4 check boxes that I use to find these suitable investments were: one, first off, and most important, is management. Have they been able to do this before? Are they reputable? Do they have a good reputation? Are they going to guide shareholders in the right direction? So when Ivan and Sean came to me with this opportunity, that was a no-brainer. These guys are rock stars in the industry, and I know they're going to be very strong in terms of guidance and pursuing these 3 companies along the way. Second is operations. Our technical team is so far superior to your average junior exploration company. Michael Henriksen, Dave Smithson, even our Peruvian team, to achieve permits in a very, tough environment, COVID, politically, whatever you want to call it, they're second to none. Thirdly, this isn't a company that we're starting from scratch. We're inheriting shareholders from Oren. So I have a responsibility to ensure that value is maintained and accelerated, not just inheriting and see where it all falls. So I take a tremendous amount of responsibility, and the pressure's on me to ensure that everybody's pleased with the direction that we're going. And then lastly is running a public company. This isn't a private co where operations, you build it and they will come. This is constantly telling the story, getting our voices out there, explaining why we're so excited about this project. And if these 4 check boxes are marked off, that was an easy decision for me to join the team. And going forward, as Ivan touched on, Curibaya, as everyone is extremely excited about, is only one of multiple assets in the company to come. And when I see a guy like Michael Henriksen and Dave Smithson getting overly excited for the project, that gets me extremely motivated. And we couldn't be more excited leading up to listing.
And let's face it, we're in mining, we're in different jurisdictions, and there's a lot of frustrations. And the fact is that just like in rowing, you're about to pass out, you give it your last effort because that's who you are.
Just on that note, Kerry, Peter won the world championship in rowing, and not trying to boast about it, but it's a great analogy because the amount of competitiveness and the discipline that's required to achieve that goal, you can imagine it, that's second to none on accomplishments. And we see that energy and that focus out of Peter in terms of delivering value with the share price and the company going forward. So the fit's pretty special, and it comes with a lot different than just a former investment advisor. That part in the business acumen that he has is awesome, but we all talk about his ability to achieve that kind of a goal. And we're just going to take the world championship of rowing and convert that to a double-digit share price of consequence, hopefully, with these discoveries. So it's
world championship asset. Yeah,
there you go.
Well, I remember at PDAC, Michael Henriksen saying he's walking around and he's just finding gold and silver and mineralization veins like all over the place. And I got really excited. And then, the show's over, you go home and you think about it. And then, from that point on, it's kind of been nonstop, Ivan, one after the next. And now April's right around the corner. Rainy season will be over. And then you start drilling. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that one comment from me, final comment on the whole opportunity is when you think when you think tier 1 silver, you have to think really big. Curibaya rivals Committee Bay and Sombrero on their best day because of where it's located and the amount of mineralization on surface. And so, whether you're a generalist or you're an analyst and, or an institutional investor, when you look at the amount of high grade over top of a target we're going to drill, and we see the source through our subsurface techniques being geophysics, and it goes down to about, 550 meters of what we think could be the precious metals target, then you're getting into an intrusion, whether it's epithermal or porphyry. We're on a world-class belt with some of the largest mines in the world on the coast of Peru. Permitting achieved, as Peter pointed out, it achieved on time. We got the permit December 28th, even with all the restrictions and challenges we've seen in South America. And now we're sitting here at the forefront with the anxiety of wanting to be drilling and wanting to be trading. and we're driving that forward as quickly as possible. Why acquire other assets if you have it really set with Curibaya? We're greedy, and our effort with Oren is 5 years long, right? And Michael and Dave and the team and Christian Rios have identified some things you have to acquire, that they're that good by opportunity. And do I want to split the company again and again? Maybe a little differently into the market we're going into. Maybe it's a spin and sale versus a spin and run more companies. CEOs are hard to find. I'll say that. And the trust and loyalty. I've known Peter since elementary school, and I've known his family growing up. The trust and loyalty is a big proponent of bringing somebody into the group. And so we're really excited. I can't wait till Tier 1 silver trades, and it's going to take us time to drill out the first wave of discoveries at Curibaya, but there'll be so much excitement and news from day one with drill permits weeks after we're trading. So it's really exciting times.
I can't wait. As a shareholder and as someone that's followed you for many years, Ivan, it's just a remarkable evolution series of events that have led us to this point. Right now, the website, and it's not fully built out, is tier1metals.com. Again, the stock, if you want to buy it today, which I'm sure you do, you can't, because we don't really like talk about things in the future on the show, but it's this ticker symbol is going to be TSLV on the Toronto, and you're going to have to wait till March, but keep an eye on this. I'm excited about it. Just talking with you guys makes me even more excited, and I'm really looking forward to the news flow coming out of the company once it's out of the gate.
Great, and thank you all the Orange shareholders who've been patient. It's going to be worth it in a huge way, and we're already seeing that interest prior to trading. But stay tuned, follow our website. A lot of news to come, and a lot of interviews before we're trading, because there's going to be a lot of really positive events. So looking forward to it.
Hey, and we still have sombrero resources to go. That's the last one. So these are indeed really exciting times, and I'm happy to be a shareholder, and I'm going to sit back and watch.
Thank you so much.
For additional information, just send us an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, and go over to tier1metals.com and get the latest info.
The Financial Survival Network.